Good day, mate. We're here in the wild Texas. Texas.
Good day, mate. We're here in Texas where the birds are running
What?
wild.
It's insane. Oh no. Good day, mate. We're here in the wild where the birds are running in Texas. The birds are running wild in Texas, honey. The birds, they running. Because I am the rhythm. This is my dance floor. Let's get into it. Welcome to Travel+Mystery, and I am your host, Justin Adair. Welcome to Two Truths and a Lie, where you have to figure out the lie. The next episode for Season 4, I will reveal which one was the lie. I'm going to tell you 3 things about me. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is a lie. Let's do it. When I was younger, I got kicked out of a church picnic. It was in the summer, and I was with some friends, and I had a disagreement with some of the people at the church, and they kicked me out because I was not against gay people, because I am gay. I played the saxophone for a year. It was in the middle school. I did it for a year, couldn't read music. I can hear music, I can hear the notes, but I can't read them. I almost was on a reality TV show. It's a well-known TV show. It was the real world. I got as far as you could get and decided that it was not for me. But yeah, that was an experience and it was exciting. So which one is the lie? That's for you to find out. Today's movie review, we will be reviewing Scream 7. That's right, I finally watched it because it's finally on streaming. I watched it for free, didn't pay for it. So I've seen all of the Screams. Scream to Scream 6. I'm a Scream fan. I like these movies because of the mystery behind it all. I am a true crime junkie. Sometimes with the gore and the blood and the guts, I'm just like, oh lordy. Scream 7. The thing about this movie is that there was a lot of people saying that it was awful, they've lost the plot, it's bad, and of course I'm gonna still watch the movie. I also know who the Scream killers were in this film because it's really hard not to run into a spoiler on the internet. I come to a point, I think I just got to a point where I'm like, screw it. When Wicked came out, I pretty much saw the majority of Wicked on the internet because it was all my algorithm was feeding me. Hard to not see a spoiler unless I'm really like skipping really fast or I'm like, no, I really want to know. When it comes to Scream, I've kind of got disappointed in the reveals, especially the last 2 films. Scream 5 and Scream 6 seem to copycat one another, right? Scream 5 was basically Scream, but a modern version, and then Scream 6 was basically Scream 2, but in New York. Kevin Williamson is the director of this film. Kevin Williamson has wrote Scream. He's been involved for like the majority of the Scream films. My favorite Scream film is Scream 4, and it's simply because the plot thickened and The thing about Scream is that if someone is close to Sydney, then you're going to care more, especially when it's like Sydney's cousin or Sydney's brother. Sydney in this film has her daughter named Tatum, the oldest, because she has 3 children that were mentioned in this film, and Tatum is the oldest and she's being attacked this time around. I liked the small town feel. Overall, this film didn't disappoint me. I was actually intrigued. It's a film that I would watch again. So hopefully this is like a passing of the torch to Tatum, and that Jessica read her book and basically her husband, because she was a psycho, but she somehow felt inspired by Sydney. She plotted, she planned. I mean, you guys, it's 7 films. Like, at this point, who else could be doing it? And it was kind of refreshing because, yes, the nostalgia was back in Scream 7. There were some things that were, like, referencing other films, but not in a exact copy revival way or whatever, where I felt like 5 really did to a T. There was that small town feel. It was different. I think it kind of stands on its own. Yeah, so the Scream killer is just random and messy or whatever, what have you, but who else could it be? Like, Mocker could have been the ghost face in this film, but really Stu was dead, and if you brought him back, I think that would have been messy, because really, you're gonna bring, like, that's where I feel like you would have lost the plot. Like, the man is dead, and now we're in a whole different realm here, where I feel like what people are missing is that Jessica being a Scream killer instead of Stu Mocker, it grounded it a little bit, because there are psychos out there that would do something like that, especially in a Scream film. I don't know. It makes sense to me. I don't know why your panties are in a bunch, but I enjoyed this film. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really thought it was a decent Scream film. I really did. I didn't hate it. I'm not going to get butthurt about certain things, because at the end of the day, you can only do so much. Okay. Get out of the... God damn it. The current mood is that we're in the middle of nowhere. There's a truck coming. We need to get over here. Come on. Come on. Sometimes the current mood is just bliss for a minute. You know, this is just the beginning. Everything is... It's really hard to explain, you know. We live in a very performative world where we all pretend like everything is peaches and cream, and then we also live in a world where everything is not that, and everything is on fire, and we're all doing the best that we can with what we have. And that's why I say that a lot. I think the truth is I am content with where I am, and that somebody might say, well, that's unrealistic. And my answer to that is, maybe for you, you whimsical bitch. Oh, but yeah. ATM, we're in the Midwest. We are in the Midwest, honey. We're in Illinois. Yeah. you know, today we're in Illinois, tomorrow we're in Utah, the next day we're there, the next day we're here, because every day is different, which is exciting for me at the moment. I don't mind it. It is Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to all the beautiful gays and days and lesbians and transgender people. Welcome and hello and happy Pride Month. Segment, I'm going to tell different memories and stories and what Pride means to me, because I feel like we get lost in trying to survive and stand up for ourselves.
7 transgender people have been murdered in the past 2 months. It's important that we know their names and acknowledge the very real threats against the LGBT community and Pride Month coming up. We have to stand up for ourselves and our community. April 5th, 2026, Devonta Curtis. April 17th, 2026, Elena Belcher. April 18th, 2026, Luca Redbeard. May 10th, 2026, Juniper Blessing. May 17th, 2026, Erica Caldwell. Reported missing April 27th and found dead May 25th, Murray Faust. And on May 25th, 2026, an unidentified trans person was found dead in Houston. This is a stark reminder of why Pride exists, how Pride exists, and that it's used to make our voices heard, and remember that we are not going back. Say their names, use your voice, and fight back.
This is going to be a little story time. I am going to talk about my coming out story. So let's get into it. So I came out, and if I'm being honest, there was just a lot of disappointment. And a friend who actually was with me when I came out to my aunt, my uncle, was supporting me and actually disappointed in their response. It wasn't easy by any means, but I had to stay true to who I was as a person. I think a lot of it was, being bullied and being made fun of, and the little jokes bothered me, and I had to say, well, why does this bother me? Because I am gay, because I do like men, and so I am going to have to be vocal and be okay with it, and so that way, it won't bother me as much. Let me set the scene. A small town in Indiana. I was very flamboyant, and I've really always kind of been both. I think people today would still consider me a twink or a twunk or whatever. And I say that jokingly, as in people cannot define who I am or who I'm becoming or who I'm growing into. But people are still going to say what they want to say. I was a little boy who said that the Backstreet Boys were hot. I grew up with a conservative family. So my story was a little different. So my mother had me when she was 18, 19 years old. Didn't know who the father was, or if she did know who the father was, he wasn't involved. So my aunt and my uncle would babysit me a lot because my mother was very young and still had her life to figure out. And so my aunt and my uncle talked her into having full guardianship of me. So I was adopted within the family. So legally, my great aunt and uncle were my guardians. They were my mom and my dad. I guess that is kind of confusing. It was confusing for me, and it was confusing for people around me. People would say, why do you call your mom, and then your aunt, but to your aunt's face, you call her mom? And I'd have to explain, well, it's so that way so you can understand that we're going to my aunt's house and my mom's house, but my aunt is my mom, and to her, I'm going to call her mom, especially to her face, because she is, but I'm going to let you know that we're going to my aunt's house.
What?
Does that make sense? My aunt and my uncle were old school. My uncle went to work, worked at a factory, paid the bills. He was the man of the house, and my aunt took care of the kids. She took care of things around the house. She babysat other kids. She was the 1950s mom. Like, she was, that's what she is known. That's who they were. It's what worked for them, I was my great aunt and uncle had 3 boys that were older than me. The youngest was graduated in 2002. So I graduated in 2011. There was a gap. I did have him when I was younger, but he was in high school and I was the little kid, and that's annoying. So eventually I would go back and forth to my mom, to my aunts on school nights and stuff like that. I would have to go back to my aunt's house because she was my guardian. I would go weekends at my mom's, or if I spent the week at my mom's, I would have to go back at night to my aunt's house to go to school. That was my growing up. That was how I was raised. And it wasn't all negative per se. Like, you did kind of get the best of both worlds, I guess, or that's what people would say to make it not negative. I don't know. In school, believe it or not, I was bullied a lot. I would, play with Barbie dolls. I was really into music, really into theater. I really enjoyed expressing myself. I was around a lot of women, and then people would say, then other family members would say, well, do you think you're gay because you didn't have a dad growing up? And I would be like, I don't know. That's not really a fair thing to ask me. Like, I have my uncle. Like, was he perfect? Nobody is, but he was still a dad figure in my life. There were still men in my life, and chew tobacco spit. They hunt. They were kind of Republican. They were kind of redneck, kind of hillbilly. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, there was still men in my life. When I was 14 years old, I actually did meet my dad. I met him. We hung out a few times, and then eventually I met my half brother, and then I messaged him, and then he would never reply back. And so he just fell off the face of the earth. I think it was for another woman or something that was more important to him. I don't know, but that's that. That's how it happened. 16 years old, I really got tired of the bullying. I really got tired of kids teasing me. I got tired of people telling me that I was gay, or asking me why I'm feminine, or why I walk the way I walk, or talk the way I talk, or do what I do. And so I really started to get a little reflective and think about what it is who I am. People are like, you don't know until you're older, you're young, da 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 da. That was the mentality. So finally, I came out as bisexual when I was 16. And the reaction from my families were pretty much disappointment. Kind of like, why do I have to, now we have to deal with this? Let's talk him out of it, kind of thing. It wasn't like they said it like that, but that's kind of, we have to be supportive, but we really don't like this. My mom's boyfriend at the time said he will never stop saying the F slur. My aunt and my uncle were disappointed. My mom would be very upset about the situation, and that was the reaction that I got. I had to stay strong. Obviously, a year later, I was like, no, I'm gay. It was really hard and rough. My high school years being 2007 to 2011, it still wasn't super accepting. In fact, like, Gaga came out my senior year, with Born This Way. So it was still really hard, and still really hard to wrap around. These were people who lived in a small town. This was the middle of Indiana. Like, they didn't have the tools quite frankly, to factor in who I was or why I was, and what being gay actually means. And my aunt and my uncle are still somewhat supportive. I mean, they still love me. They still send me birthday cards and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm just kind of on my own adventure at this point. My mother and stepdad, or her boyfriend, but they're now married, think that being gay is a mental illness, and they are Trump supporters. So I don't involve myself with that, and I send love and whatever, but I cannot be involved with someone who thinks that my sexuality is a mental illness. That's just not okay for my mental health, and it is okay to be you, and it is okay not to have to put all those labels on yourself. Just follow your instincts and know that being gay is a part of you, and yes, it had to be hidden for so long, and you've had to be someone else to survive, but you can be yourself now, and it doesn't have to be super complicated. And you're loved because I love you. Ardmore, Oklahoma. The Old Mercy Hospital. This abandoned hospital on 12th Avenue is the crown jewel of Ardmore paranormal lore. It operated for decades before closing in the 1970s. Locals and ghost hunters report seeing shadow figures, hearing footsteps and screams, and feeling cold spots. Some claim the spirits of former patients, especially a woman who died during surgery and a child, still linger. It's been featured on paranormal shows, and it is a favorite for overnight investigations. The Ardmore Jail. The historic jail, built in 1910 on B Street, is said to be haunted by inmates who died there, including a man wrongly convicted of murder who was hanged. Employees and visitors have reported doors slamming on their own, muffled cries, and the sensation of being watched from empty cells. Lake Murray. Not far from Ardmore, Lake Murray has a persistent legend. The ghost of a woman in a white who wanders the shoreline near the dam. Some say she's the spirit of a bride who drowned herself in the 1930s. Others report hearing crying sounds on still nights near Tucker Tower. The Whittington House, also called the Ardmore Ghost House, an old Victorian home, now gone or heavily remodeled, was the site of a brutal murder-suicide in the 1920s. Neighbors claimed to see a woman's face in an upstairs window long after the house was abandoned. Some say you could hear a piano playing at night. The Crybaby Bridge. Like many small towns, Ardmore has its own Crybaby Bridge legend, usually a low water bridge where you can supposedly hear a baby crying at night. The specific location shifts depending on who you ask. Brenda passed in 2023. She was born in 1946. I'm drawn to this gravestone here, so let's read for Brenda. Brenda worked on fast cars. She worked her whole life, and she was someone who lost her son at a young age. He passed, I believe, when he was in his 40s in 2012. I was walking in a graveyard close by the Loves, and her gravestone stuck out to me. Brenda was buried in Columbia, Tennessee, where she went to high school. So as far as my research could tell, Brenda had spent most of her life in Columbia. I think the adventure here is that we cannot forget about the people who have passed. You know, Brenda didn't have a Facebook. She didn't have, her life wasn't on the internet. There wasn't a YouTube channel to look up. And the truth is that we can forget. And Brenda was someone who was loved. Someday we're all going to be gone. And anytime I see a fast car, or a blue car for that matter, I'm going to think of Brenda. I'm going to think of her and the life that she could have led, and that she kept doing it. She kept trucking along. So Brenda, not even knowing her, inspired me. Thank you for watching this episode of Travel+Mystery. I am your host, Justin Adair. I appreciate you being here. Please make sure to like, subscribe, do what you can, because we do what we can with what we got. All right. I will see you next time.